On July 12, 2026, Red River Unitarian Universalist Church hosted the Reverend Dr. Mark Y.A. Davies speaking on systemic corruption. Of his service, Mark says, "One of the greatest dangers facing humanity today is the existence of systemic corruption and the breakdown it creates within the human community. Vast networks and global systems of corruption pose an existential threat to a sustainable path forward that enhances the well-being of all persons."
Welcome from Red River Unitarian Universalist. Thank you for joining us. The religion we practice in this church is centered in the here and now, rather than the hereafter. It is more of a thinking kind of religion than a believing kind. It is governed more by reason than by tradition, more concerned with the present than the past. It is concerned with getting the most out of life, with living wisely and well. A major aim for us is continually expanding our understanding of life and ourselves. This church is a community of people who share in the free and open search for a level of understanding that will enable us to be more fully and effectively alive. The church does not tell us what we must believe. It stimulates us to think. It supports us in our search. You are welcome to join us. Our centering value is love, with transformation, generosity, equity, interdependence, justice, and pluralism.
We gather together today with sacred intention to declare that justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with the beloved community that is possible. Not here, not quite yet. The seeds have been planted time and again, and we remember all those who went before us who made beloved community a dream that could be realized. Justice is our prayer. May our time together continue to water the building trees of diverse interdependence. May our time together give air and nourishment to the parts of our collective spirits that need to grow and thrive, that embrace equity as a known way of being. Justice is our prayer. We affirm in covenant with beloved community that is possible. May it be so. At this time, during our prelude, we have an opportunity to light the candles of community. You can light a candle for joy or concern, to remember someone, or simply to bring more light into our space. light this chalice with an open heart. We light this chalice with resolve. We light this chalice with tears still fresh on our cheeks. We light this chalice in hope, a tiny flame we nurture. We light this chalice with reverence for this place, for these people, for this time. We light this chalice with all our soul's longing to be who we are, to be who we will be and become, to be ourselves. We light this chalice in self-love, in giving love, in holy love. Let's join together in our spoken affirmation. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth and freedom, and to help one another. We light this peace candle to remind us of all the places in the world where there is no peace. Join me in the words now on the screen. Lead me from death to life, from falsehood to truth. Lead me from despair to hope, from fear to trust. Lead me from hate to love, from war to peace. Let peace fill our hearts, our world, our universe. And at this time, we have our UU snippet.
How many of you know the difference between a chalice circle and an interest group? I didn't. While they're both centered around church members gathering for some kind of activity, there are a few key differences. A chalice circle begins with a selected reading to set the tone, much like in our Sunday services. It's a time to come together in beloved community to engage with a mission or activity that enriches our spiritual lives. The gatherings typically end with a short checkout about how each attendee was impacted by the message or activity. In an interest group, on the other hand, is just a bunch of us getting together to do something fun or engaging. There's no formality or specifically spiritual aspect to the gathering. For us, it's generally more about getting to the good food. And that's the thing about Red River UU. We have lots of interest groups. We have movable feast, book clubs, clothing swaps, and various other activities we participate in. But they are all solely based on shared interests. When we still hosted a lot of the movable feasts at church, it was a chalice circle. We started with a reading and check-in and closed with another reading and checkout. That is a little less practical at public restaurants where people are possibly seated at multiple tables, waiters are dropping appetizers and entrees, and other patrons are simply trying to enjoy their meals. So we have an interest group. Do you think we're missing out by not having any chalice circles? Are you looking for a more spiritual connection at our social gatherings? Do you have an idea for one that you would like to explore? If so, please speak up. We're always open to new ideas and avenues for connection. Contact the board with any questions or ideas that you would like to discuss.
I, for one, did not know the difference between chalice circles and interest groups, so I'm glad to know that now. Our opening thought comes from Edward Gibbon, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. The various modes of worship which prevailed in the Roman world were all considered by the people as equally true, by the philosopher as equally false, and by the magistrate as equally useful.
We rise, humbly hearted rise, won't be divided rise. Spirit to guide us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. All of the children rise. Elders with wisdom rise. Ancestors surround us rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. Up from the wreckage, rise. With tears and with courage, rise. Fighting for life, we rise. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here. In hope, in prayer, we find ourselves here. In hope, in prayer, we're right here, and we rise. Humbly hearted rise. Won't be divided rise. With Spirit to guide us rise.
Our next reading comes from George Orwell, Keep the Aspidistra Flying. The mistake you make, don't you see, is in thinking one can live in a corrupt society without being corrupt oneself. After all, what do you achieve by refusing to make money? You're trying to behave as though one could stand right outside our economic system, but one can't. One's got to change the system, or one changes nothing. One can't put things right in a hole and corner way. You have to, if you take my meaning. One can't put things right in a hole and corner way if you take my meaning. Our meditation comes from Beth Lefevre, titled We Are Whole. Let's take a moment to center ourselves and sit as comfortably as you can, perhaps with both feet on the ground, but you don't have to. Whatever's most comfortable for you. Perhaps close your eyes or not, whatever you would prefer. Let's take a deep breath in and out. In and out. In, out. We are whole, even in the broken places, even where it hurts. We are whole, even in the broken places, the places where fear impedes our full engagement with life, where self-doubt corrupts our self-love, where shame makes our faces hot and our souls cold. We are whole even in those places where perfectionism blunts the joy of full immersion into person, place, activity, where good enough does not reside except in our silent longings, where our gaps must be fast filled with substance, accomplishment, or frenzied activity, lest they gape open and disgust. We are whole where we would doubt our own goodness, richness, fullness, and depth, where we would doubt our own significance, our own profoundness. We are whole even in our fragility, even where we feel fragmented, alone, insubstantial, insufficient. We are whole even as we are in process, even as we stumble, even as we pick ourselves up again, for we are whole. We are whole. Our next reading comes from what is not a usual source of inspiration, the 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index. The 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index, also known as CPI, shows that corruption remains a serious threat in every part of the world, although there are limited signs of progress. Leaders must act to tackle abuses of power and the wider factors driving this decline, such as the rollback of democratic checks and balances and attacks on independent civil society. Anti-government protests in many parts of the world show that people are fed up with unaccountable leadership and are demanding reform. The CPI ranks 182 countries and territories worldwide by their perceived levels of public sector corruption. The results are given on a scale of 0, highly corrupt, to 100, very clean. While 31 countries have significantly reduced their corruption levels since 2012, the rest are failing to tackle the problem. They have stayed stagnant or got worse during the same period. The global average has fallen to a new low of 42, while more than 2/3 of countries score below 50, and people are paying the price, as corruption leads to underfunded hospitals, unbuilt flood defenses, and blights the hopes and dreams of young people.
I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, pig-headed politicians. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. No short-head, yellow-bellied son of tricky dick is gonna mother of a top, so leave us just a pocket full of hope. Money for dough, money for road. No short-head, yellow-bellied son of tricky dick is gonna mother of a top, so me we got the pocket full of gold. Money for dough, money for road. I'm sick to death of seeing things from tight-lipped, condescending mamas little shoulders. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth now. I've had enough of watching scenes with schizophrenic, egocentric, paranoid prima donnas. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth. No short-head, yellow-bellied son of tricky dick is gonna mother of the top, so me with just a pocket full of soap. It's money for dough, money for road. I'm sick to death of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocrites. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth now. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, pig-headed politicians. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth now. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth now. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. All I want is the truth. Just give me some
How am I almost 60 years old and I've never heard that song before? One of the greatest dangers facing humanity today is the existence of systemic corruption and the serious breakdown that it creates within the human community and also eventually the ecological community. There are really vast networks and global systems of corruption that are currently posing an existential threat to any kind of sustainable path forward that enhances the well-being of all persons. The Transparency International Corruption Perception Index has been following that now for a number of years, and I didn't mention in that quote that I read from, but the United States has been falling in the Corruption Perceptions Index precipitously over the past 10 years, 12 years or so especially. If we're going to have a sustainable path forward for humanity and for the planet as a whole, we're going to have to deal with this corruption that we're facing. But this corruption that we're facing is not the work of a single person or even a small group of persons, even though it certainly has benefited a certain individual and his family more than others, and those who are surrounding him, especially the oligarchs who are supporting him. So it does benefit them more than others, but that is just the tip of the iceberg of corruption that we are facing. This corruption is rather the coordinated work. It's the coordinated work of many, especially the very wealthy, who have co-opted the very systems that were designed to control that corruption. What we are facing is systemic corruption, and it will take the transformation of systems to eradicate it. Corruption in the United States has become systemic in nature because the systems of accountability have been captured by the corrupt entities they were supposed to hold accountable. Over and over again, the entities that were supposed to hold us accountable to keep us out of corruption have been captured by the corrupt entities. According to Transparency International, the strongest democracies in the world have strict limitations in relation to the role of money in politics, and they regulate and create restrictions on corporate influence on political processes. But tragically, in the United States, we've gone in exactly the opposite direction. We've allowed increasingly large amounts of money to influence and control our politics under the guise of free speech. American oligarchs may be, well, maybe not, but they may be a little more subtle than their Russian counterparts when it comes to wielding their political influence for the sake of power and profit, but they nonetheless possess exorbitantly greater political clout than the average citizen, and they're able to use their wealth to perpetuate their interests and continue to expand their economic and political power. The Supreme Court of the United States has been captured by this oligarchic influence and has made it even easier for corporations and the wealthy to use their money to influence political outcomes. All you have to do is see the Citizens United Supreme Court decision as a case in point in which corporate political spending is given the status of free speech, and then we have nearly unlimited financial contributions that are allowed, oftentimes secretly, anonymously. Through their wealth-funded political influence, oligarchs and the corporations they oversee are able to not only control the politicians and the legislation that is passed, they're also able to capture the very agencies and institutions that are meant to regulate their economic activities. One need only see the revolving door between appointments in government agencies and the corporate world to understand this reality. For example, in the United States, executives and other high-level employees of industrial agricultural companies end up working in the United States Department of Agriculture. And when they end their careers in the Department of Agriculture, they go back to work for those agricultural companies. Representatives from the fossil fuel companies end up working with the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission and the Environmental Protection Agency as well. And we know for a period of time we've seen actual coal lobbyists be the administrators of the Environmental Protection Agency. When oligarchs control politicians and capture government agencies for their own interests, it is not only a threat to democracy, but it's also a threat to all people, and it's also a threat to life on our planet. In the case of global fossil fuel oligarchs, they've proven that they are willing to threaten a livable climate for the sake of their power and profit. It is not an accident that the most vibrant democracies are also the most ecologically sustainable societies. Those vibrant democracies that have regulations, controls, anti-corruption systems, they are the most ecologically sustainable societies. A government by and for the whole people would never sacrifice a livable climate for all for the sake of more profits for the wealthy few. The well-being of all life on the planet hangs in the balance in this global struggle between democracy and corrupt autocracy. And the oligarchs continue to be a direct threat to democracy through their corruption, through their greed. If democracy is to win in this struggle, the oligarchs will have to be controlled, and their economic and political power will have to be diminished. We know that one of the most coordinated efforts by the oligarchs in the United States and really throughout the world has been to capture the judiciary, to capture the judicial branch here in the United States. It's no accident that Lewis Powell, the person who wrote the infamous Powell memo that became the blueprint for corporations to regain control of our government after they really didn't like the New Deal and they really didn't like the Great Society, so Lewis Powell developed a blueprint for corporations to regain control of our government. It's no accident that just a few months after he wrote that plan, he was appointed to the Supreme Court of the United States. Just a few months after drafting that plan. And then the Federalist Society, formed in 1982, but really that was a part of that Powell memo blueprint as well. And its supporters have worked relentlessly and very successfully to capture significant portions of our judicial system, most notably the Supreme Court of the United States. If you don't think they've captured the Supreme Court of the United States, I invite you to look at recent decisions of the Supreme Court of the United States, which are always in line with the interests of the oligarchs. It's through a coordinated takeover of the courts that the oligarchs, in collaboration, and this is an insidious collaboration with white Christian nationalists, have systematically whittled away at the institutions, systems, and protections that foster a just and participatory democratic republic. Sadly, perhaps more often than not, religion has been used. Religion has been used in support of the systemic corruption we are experiencing, especially religion expressed in a deeply racist, patriarchal, and anti-pluralistic form of Christian nationalism. An unholy and deeply corrupt alliance between the oligarchs and white Christian nationalists is the biggest threat to a multicultural and multiracial participatory democracy that we are facing currently. And given that this alliance has placed profits and power over people and the planet, it has become an existential threat to all life on Earth. The systemic corruption we face is a result of a coordinated and sustained effort over many, many decades. And the work to overcome it, the work to overcome systemic corruption, will require coordinated and sustained risk and movement, and a movement for systemic transparency and for participatory democracy. It will take effort, it will take sacrifice, it will take coordination. We have to work to overcome the many systemic evils that are present in our society. The good news is that if you look at history, we have worked to overcome many systemic evils in our history. And now we're called upon once again to work together, to sacrifice for the common good, to be beacons of transparency as we fully live into our aspirations for true liberty and justice for all. You can look at the history of our country and you can see all of its failures, all of the things that it has done wrong, but one of the good things about our society is that there has been, at least in word, perhaps not fully in deed, an aspiration for liberty and justice for all. May this community be a beacon for that liberty and justice for all. May this community be a beacon for transparency over corruption. May it be a beacon for just and beloved community over greed and corrupt and nihilistic lust for wealth and power. And if we work together in this community with other communities, perhaps islands of transparency, networking, connecting together in this sea of corruption, if we work together as relentlessly for freedom and justice as the oligarchs have worked together to corrupt the systems of our society, if we do that, then deep in my heart, I still believe that someday we shall overcome. At this time, there's an opportunity for giving, and you can give at the table, and there's also an opportunity to give online.
Thank you.
One, two, three. Sitting here in my problem. What am I gonna do now? Am I gonna make it? Some way, somehow. Well, maybe I'm not supposed to know. Maybe I'm supposed to cry. If nobody ever knows the way I feel, that's alright. That's okay. 'Cause I'm gonna make my world a better place. Gonna keep that smile on my face. Yeah, I'm gonna teach myself how to understand. Gonna make myself a better man. Jumping out the window, climbing up the wall. Is anybody gonna save me? Or are they gonna let me fall? Well, I don't really wanna know. I'm gonna hold on the best I can. And if I fall down, I'm gonna get back up. And it'll be alright, it'll be okay. 'Cause I'm gonna make my world a better place. Gonna keep that smile on my face. Lord, I'm gonna teach myself how to understand. Gonna make myself a better man. Well, I don't really wanna know. I'm gonna hold on the best I can. And if I fall down, I'm gonna get back up. It'll be alright, it'll be okay. Well, I'm gonna make my world a better place. Go keep that smile on my face. Go teach myself how to understand. Go make myself a better man. Yeah, I'm gonna make my world a better place. Well, I'm gonna keep a smile on my face. Yeah, I'm gonna teach myself how to understand. Gonna make myself a better man. Make my world. I'm gonna make my world. You know I'm gonna make my world. Yeah, it's gonna be alright. Gonna make my world. Well, now, maybe I'm not supposed to know. Maybe I'm supposed to cry. And if nobody ever knows the way I feel, that's alright. That's okay. 'Cause I'm gonna make my world a better place. Yes, I'm gonna keep that smile on my face. Gonna teach myself how to understand. Gonna make myself a better man. Yeah, I'm gonna make my world a better place. Gonna keep that smile on my face. Gonna teach myself how to understand. Gonna make myself a better, a better man. Whoa, yeah, a better man.
Playing for change.
This will probably be the last time you get a benediction from the 2025 Corruption Perceptions Index, too. But here it is. At a time of climate crisis, instability, and polarization, the world needs accountable leaders and independent institutions to protect the public interest more than ever. Yet too often, they are falling short. We're calling on governments and leaders to act with integrity and to live up to their responsibilities to provide a better future for their citizens. Let's join together in extinguishing the chalices. Reading the words on the screen. We extinguish these flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Go in peace, return in love.